Carrie, I'll just start this recording here. And yeah, okay, so thank you all for coming tonight. I'm going to go directly to the Metaversity, but we're going to, instead of watching the video first, we're going to watch it later, the video of practice that we did last Friday. And because I want to show a theme that I kind of got some interesting insights about this week. And I think it's related to, well, the combination of Mariama Sensei's practice, what I learned from that, and then teaching that, and then reading some of the books by Trevor Levitt, which I mentioned before. This is a really nice one, Zen and the Ways. This inspired me quite a lot. Another one's called The First Zen Reader. These are nice old books I've had in my possession for a long time. Oh, by the way, this character from Mu, this was painted by Hakuin Zenji, who's a very famous Rinzai Zen priest from the Edo period. And I used this as the model for one of the four characters that I did when I performed on stage with a violinist from Spain. Etsumuyo. So nothing lacking, nothing needed. And so I used this. It's a really kind of unusual way to write it, but it came out really well. It's a nice inspiration. And then one of my favorites that kind of got me started on this whole Zen journey was Zen Flesh, Zen Bones.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, although this is by Paul Reps, not by Trevor Leggett. Anyway, the whole koan thing. So, Julia, are you familiar with what a Zen koan is?
I mean, I've heard of it, but I wouldn't be able to explain it.
Okay, well, nobody can explain them.
That's the point. Yeah.
That's part of the problem. But no, what they are is they're very short parables, which are more like riddles because they're really hard to figure out, and the monks will meditate on these, and there are hundreds of them, and they meditate with them until the master is satisfied that he or she has understood it, and then they graduate to the next one. And it just goes on, and it's a form of meditation that's used in the Rinzai school. So koan literally means public proposition or public problem, or Zen mondo, which is Zen puzzle or Zen problem. So I want to look at one of the most famous ones, what is the sound of one hand clapping? I'm sure you've heard of it if you've been read any Zen literature. It's one of the more famous ones. And there is no logical answer to that, right? Because, having one hand make a sound. And I was searching for videos about this, and I found this silly one that he said not to post, but I'll just tell you about it because it was like a grade B comedy. But this guy, there's all these Western people dressed up in what they thought were Zen outfits. It didn't look at all right, and then this kind of bungling guy comes up in front of the head monk, and there's young guys in their 20s, I guess, and he goes, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" And he goes, "Master, I do not know the sound of one hand clapping." So he whacks him across the cheek, and then suddenly it's like everybody starts laughing. It's like, wait a minute, that was like pretty lame. But anyway, there's no simple answer to this question. And if you go in here, I found two videos that I thought were maybe actually one video, and then I something that I put on my website that I have on my website a place called Aikido Metaversity Readings. So when I find something that's worth, I think, saving, I just add to it, and it's becoming quite an archive by now. But let's look first at this short video on what is the sound of one hand clapping?
In a small Zen monastery nestled in the mountains, there lived a young monk named Koji. Koji was a diligent and dedicated student of Zen, but he struggled to fully grasp the teachings of his master.
Sorry about that. I'm going to try to...
One day, Koji overheard a group of senior monks discussing the famous koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping?
And let me see if I can zoom this.
In a small Zen monastery nestled in the mountains, there lived a young monk named Koji. Koji was a diligent and dedicated student of Zen, but he struggled to fully grasp the teachings of his master. One day, Koji overheard a group of senior monks discussing the famous koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Koji had heard of this koan before but had never truly understood its meaning. Determined to uncover the answer, Koji approached his master and asked him to explain the meaning of the koan. The master simply responded, "You must discover the answer for yourself." Koji was confused and frustrated. How could he discover the answer if he didn't even know what the question meant? Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, but Koji remained steadfast in his pursuit of the answer to the koan. He meditated for hours on end, trying to empty his mind and allow the answer to reveal itself. One day, as Koji was walking in the garden, he heard the faint sound of a single leaf falling from a nearby tree. The sound was so quiet and delicate that he almost didn't hear it at all. But in that moment, Koji suddenly understood the meaning of the koan. The sound of one hand clapping was like the sound of a leaf falling from a tree, quiet and unassuming, yet powerful and full of meaning. Koji rushed to his master to share his revelation, but the master simply smiled and said, "You have found your own answer. But remember, the answer is not as important as the journey you took to find it." Koji was filled with a sense of peace and understanding. He realized that the true meaning of the koan was not a specific answer, but rather the process of seeking and discovering the answer for oneself. From that day forward, Koji continued his practice of Zen with renewed vigor and a deep understanding of the importance of the journey, rather than just the destination. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content. Leave your feedback in the comments below. See you next time.
Okay, so let's see if I can get out of that now. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to have a seat here. Comments.
Well, it's always it's interesting because it's all you must always be careful not to explain the koan or what it meant. So they don't go that far, so they still keep it. It's like a metaphor with the leaf, but it's not like this is the answer to the koan, because you must be careful not to.
Right.
I was surprised to see koan sometime, and there's like 2 pages explanation below the koan, and say, well, are you sure you should do that to explain the koan underneath? Like a big book and all these explanations. Maybe it's in the Western world where we want to find the answer, and but yeah, it's always I think the way they do it is it's good, because they don't try to see here's what the explanation is of this koan. It means no.
It's a challenge, because obviously if you understand it intellectually, or you're satisfied with the intellectual explanation, and you present that to the master, it's not going to pass, right? And so then you'll be sent back on your ear, and and then you get he expressed his frustration. He didn't even understand what the question meant, right? And then even after you pass that, the next one might be, does a dog have Buddha nature, or what was your original face before you were born? There are all these things that don't really have a logical answer. And so how do you deal with that to actually get some practical benefit from it, some result, so that you're not just wasting your time going around this little squirrel cage. Hugh, you want to add anything to that on sound of one hand clapping?
I can't remember which year it was you went to Mount Kimpu.
I can't remember. No.
Just north of Kofu.
Yeah. Well, it would have been in the last 9, but I don't remember.
Yeah. So anyway, exactly. So anyway, you told me about one of your trips, and you put some pictures up. So I wrote a haiku for that visit, which is in the chat there.
Oh, okay.
And so the interesting thing from the point of view of this discussion is that the first version that I wrote was Mount Kimpu looks down, the sound of one hand clapping, prayers in the spring air. And then you made the comment, I don't think anybody understands one hand clapping. So I changed it to Mount Kimpu looks down, the sound of pilgrims clapping, prayers in the spring air.
Yeah, no, I remember that now, and that is really great. The sounds of pilgrims clapping, and as a haiku, I think the second version is a big improvement. The other thing, just want to point out, in case the others have not noticed it, is that Hugh very skillfully maintains the 5-7-5 syllable structure and rhythm of the haiku, even in English, which is not easy to do. But if you count it out on your fingers, you'll find it is 5-7-5, which is quite pleasing. And of course, as a haiku, it represents a particular moment in time, or a particular what I'm looking for the right word, overlap or juxtaposition of elements, usually one being permanent and the other being impermanent, which Basho called fueki ryuko. So the constant what was constant change or continuous transformation. Anyway, that's a very Buddhist theme. So yeah, well done, brilliant. Can you see that? I put it up. I clicked on the screen. Can you see that written here, or is that just me that's looking at the chat?
Yeah, I don't. We still see the screen, but we can click on the chat.
Yeah. If you click on the chat, you can see it, and maybe even download it. That would be a good thing to do. Okay, so
the other thing is the background, although it's very abstract, is, if I remember rightly, is an abstract variation of the mountain itself.
Oh,
probably from one of your photographs, but it could. I mean, I could have gone anywhere. I think it was from one of your photographs. So anyway, it's not important, but that is part of the design of the thing.
Very nice. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just now saving it to my desktop. So very good. Okay. Yeah.
When we put interesting stuff in the chat, I don't know if everybody knows this, but if you go to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen,
3 dots, you can save the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, there are 3 dots, and you can save that chat.
Does it save images? Does it save images and attachments as well, or that's what I'm not sure?
Yeah, I think so. I think it saves everything. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so then Julia, what is a quick introduction to the Zen koan, but what are your impressions on hearing these old guys talk about this very puzzling philosophy?
I mean, it's my first, I guess, like say direct introduction to it. And as a result, my observations may be very surface level, but I mean, I like the way the video told the story, and told, I guess, like the basic idea of what a koan should be. It's not the answer. It's always about the journey, and I guess we can always relate that to our own lives, because I think sometimes in today's society we always focus on the goals, and never on the journey to get to the goal, which I think should be the focus, especially in my discipline of classical music. We're always thinking about the concert, but we're not thinking about everything that happens between now and the concert. So I guess that's one connection to life, or
Well, everybody can draw their own benefits and conclusions and interpretation, and every time you do it, you're going to get something new, because it's whatever happened before or after, the sort of sandwich effect.
It's interesting the what Julia just underlined, the journey, the process. It's sometimes when you explain the unbendable arm, and you say, if you try to do the unbendable arm, you're not gonna succeed. I want my arm to be unbendable.
Yeah,
works if you on the process to be one of the 4 principles, whether it's to be centered or relax, or so it then you can do it. But if you focus on the result, you're too attached to the result itself. So it's a nice way to approach koan, not try to like, I want to find the answer, and then it's interesting.
Or maybe just to enjoy the process of questioning without having to reach a conclusion. That's the search, as opposed to the as Julia was saying, and
you might find a more interesting answer this way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're gonna just find the answer as quick as possible, and then I solved it. And it's sometimes that you already in your perspective, you just projected what you know right now, and so it's probably about this. So
Yeah.
it's probably about the connection with if one hand needs the other, and so you're just gonna project what you know. So but you're not gonna reflect on the thing, and it's not gonna, it's like you stop the process immediately. You not try to let it go and it flow. So yes, interesting.
Very good. Well, actually, that's interesting you said that, because I thought before starting this that what I wanted to do was share it's not a final answer, it's not a complete answer, but it was an insight that I got this week, inspired by not only this koan, but koan's process in general. And hopefully that process will be meaningful to you as well. So Praja, what's your take on the sound of one hand clapping?
Yeah, Sensei, it is interesting. So I think for me, it feel like we have some another situation, like beyond our present moment. We have to think another way, something else. I feel like we have to. It is present now, but in present we have another same time. It is blending like another energy or another thing. So sounds like one hand clapping. It is not possible, but there's one answer for that. So there's another answer. So that's mean in the present we are in the present, but in the same time we have another thing happening. So our mind we can go more deeper.
Maybe join two different time zones or two different dimensions and create something new. Yeah.
Yes, if we feel that, so we are not in a natural world, in this world, in this time, but we have to think another option also. I feel like that.
Yeah, great. Thank you. One thing that I feel that is really helpful for Zen koans or any kind of study, actually, is not just sitting on a cushion and thinking about it and coming up with answers that get rejected and over again and for years and years, because most of us can't do that. Anyway, we just can't devote that kind of time. But the discussion and throwing it around and getting different perspectives can really kind of crack the nut a little bit. And sometimes it's reading, like this book. I think it was yesterday morning. I just picked this up, and I kind of woke up a little bit early, and I said, okay, I got the book by my bedside, and so I just opened it to this thing, and it said Daikaku, who's the name of a Kamakura 13th century Zen master, and this chapter is called Daikaku's Sutra of One Word. It's just a couple of pages. I'd like to read it. Okay. The founder of Kenchoji Temple at Kamakura in the 13th century was the Chinese Zen master Daikaku, who was invited there by the shogun Tokiyori to spread Zen in the eastern areas of Japan. Some priests and laymen of other sects were not at all pleased at this, and out of jealousy spread it around that the Zen master was a spy sent to Japan by the Mongols, and gradually many people began to believe this. At the time, relations with the Mongols were worsening, and the shogun's government, misled by the campaign of rumors, transferred the teacher to Koshu. So Koshu is like near us, Julia, and it's Koshu and Kofu, right? He was not at all disturbed, but joyfully followed the karma which led him away. A man came to him who was a believer in repetition of mantras like the Lotus Mantra and the mantra of Amida, and said, the Heart Sutra, which is read in the Zen tradition, is long and difficult to read. How long? It's actually 226 characters, right? Whereas Nichiren teaches the mantra of the lotus, which is only 7 syllables, and Ippen teaches the mantra of Amida, which is only 6. But the Zen Sutra, that is the Heart Sutra, is much longer and is difficult to recite. The teacher listened to this and said, what would a follower of Zen want with a long text? If you want to recite the Zen scripture, do it with one word. It is the 6 and 7 word ones that are too long. Later at the Zen temple in Koshu, Master Setsuo used to present his pupils with this story as a riddle. The one-word sutra of Master Daikaku. He told them, the golden-faced teacher, the Buddha, it is said, in all his 49 years of preaching, never uttered a single word. But our old Buddha, Master Daikaku, declares one word to lead the people to salvation. What is that word? Say, what is that one word? If you cannot find it in your whole life, your whole life will be spent entangled in creepers in a dark cave. If you find it, with a leap of realization, you will fill heaven and earth. Those who were set at this riddle over the years tried the word heart and the word Buddha and Dharma and God and mantra, but none of them hit it. When the pearly sweat runs down the body, coming and going for the interviews with the teacher, the one word will be met directly. There's another short one, just 2 paragraphs. Bukko's Sutra of No Word. The priest of Tsuragaoka Hachiman came to the Chinese Zen master Bukko, who succeeded Daikaku, and told him the story of Daikaku's one-word sutra. He said, I don't ask about the 6 or 7 syllables which the other sects recite, but what is the one word of Zen? The teacher said, our school does not set up words. It is a special transmission outside the scriptures, a truth transmitted from heart to heart. If you can penetrate through to that, your whole life will be a mantra, and your death will be a mantra. What would you be wanting with a word or half a word? The old master Daikaku went deep into the forest and put one word down there, and now the whole Zen world is tearing itself to pieces on the thorns, trying to find it. If the revered one before me wishes to grasp that one word, then without opening the mouth, recite the Sutra of No Word. If you fail in your awareness of the no word, you will at once lose the one word. Lift this one word and see it above the 33 heavens, bury it, and it is at the bottom of the 8 great hells. The 4 directions and above and below, where could it be hidden? At this instant before your reverence. Is there one word or is there not? The golden needle did not penetrate the emperor's embroidered cloth, and the priest silently took his leave. Okay, so this, the idea of you take a 226 word thing, the Heart Sutra, which, by the way, is very different when you're chanting, and it's very different when you're painting it. But anyway, you have, mostly they recite it. And then you say, no, well, what about the Nichiren school has 7 words, and then the other school has 6 words, and then what about one word or no words? And so what it's leading to, in a way, and for those of you who are familiar with Tohei Sensei's approach to meditation, is what? Half, 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 half. And fading into infinite silence. But it's also, and that's the sitting down meditation, but it's also a little bit about, let me stand up here, about this. I found this amazing picture of lightning striking a tree. Now, I don't know how they were able to catch that moment, but let me get out of the way. Can you see that? So it's electrified, the whole tree is like electrified, lightning rod. But I think the idea of being instantaneous and being even a very physical thing, and then that takes us to Aikido and the lesson which I taught on Friday, which is basically something that I got from Maruyama Sensei the previous week, and it's about this idea of Setsuna, the moment of time that's like 1/75th of a fraction of time, and I actually Maruyama Sensei then posted on the website in Japanese basically the essence of that lecture, and I used DeepL to translate it, and I put it on my website here. So it's a bit hard to read right here, but this is on this page. So I'm not going to read it from here. I'll read it from my website. But you know where to find Samurai.
Yeah.
Samurai Walk. And then you scroll to the right and you'll find there's a page. It's a little bit hard to orient. Where am I? Anyway, there's a page that is, what can I say? It's a pop-up menu. You go to the right and you go down and it says Aikido Metaversity Readings. So what I'm going to do now is actually, maybe I could share that screen because that's a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to go and share.
Will, just while you're finding that page, can I just draw your attention. I put it in the chat again. This book,
Sure.
which is called One Hand Clapping.
Oh,
So it's a series of Zen stories for all ages. And I used to read this book to the kids when they were like babies.
Oh.
So, and very young. So the particular story on One Hand Clapping is very short.
Okay.
And if I can just interrupt you and read it.
Oh, please, yeah.
Because it links into really almost what you were saying about Tue Sensei. So they call it, the poem is called The Sound of a Single Hand. Okay. The great Zen master Hakuin, who lived in 18th century Japan, used to hold up his hand before his students and say, "Listen to the sound of a single hand." Or he would ask, "What is the sound of a single hand?" In the depths of the innermost self, more remote than the farthest mountain and closer than close, lies the secret house of the sound of one hand. Enter.
Wow. Yeah. That's really interesting. Well, Hakuin was of the school that was opposed to too many words, right? He was saying just be more direct. And because also the Rinzai sect uses these Zen koans, so that would make a lot of sense. Now, I'm not going to read this first article. Actually, this I generated from the Da Vinci bot, but I asked it about what is the sound of one hand clapping, and so then it refers to the this revered text, which Hakuin said was too long. And so you want to go direct experience of reality and go beyond the surface level understanding. And okay, so that part I will just leave, you can read if you like, but that's just background on that. But the part I want to read is the summary. It's a translation in DeepL from the post that Maruyama Sensei put on his website in Japanese, which was the essence of his lecture. And Gabriel, I think you've been looking forward to hearing about this because it's about the Naka Ima.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
No, actually, I read this in the video, so I won't read it now because you hear it again. But this is where it is. If you want to go back and read it, you can see. So, and then there was Aikido and calligraphy. So I'm just posting these sort of in order. Yeah. So you know where to find it, right?
Yeah. I've saved the link for later. I'm gonna go back to it.
Yeah. Okay. So, but essentially, what I do is I read this in the class. So I'm going to go back to the Metaversity, and I'm going to go out here, and in front of this, and then this is the practice that we had on Friday. And let's see if I can do this right. Okay, welcome to another episode for the Aikido Metaversity. In this episode, we're going to look at the concept of Naka Ima, as Maruyama Sensei lectured about last Sunday before last. Naka Ima means living in the here and now. Now, I could explain it, but what I'm going to do, please come on and just briefly introduce yourself again, just so everybody knows who's here.
My name is Milena.
Milena from Bulgaria.
My name is Omri from the US.
Last time it was California. Anyway, so thank you all for coming. So what I'm going to do, you can have a seat. I'm just going to read. This is a translation of what he wrote in his blog, but it has basically the same message. So, living here and now by Chairman Koritoshi Maruyama. There was once a phrase that was popular among those interested in American spirituality. Here and now. Is the corona disaster, and although I have not been to the US for several years now, I may still be using this phrase. It means live in the here and now. This is a completely different meaning from what is called ephemeralism in Japan, which means don't dwell on the past will never return. Worrying about the future, which has not yet to come, is just an unnecessary thought that takes up a lot of energy. You are alive here and now, do your best in the present. This is the meaning of the phrase, do your best in the here and now. This phrase was originally a Zen phrase that took root in the region when the late D.T. Suzuki, 1870 to 1966, spread Zen philosophy in Europe and the United States before and after World War II. Although I mentioned the word Zen, there was actually a word with the same meaning in purely Japanese kokudo, or basically, the Japanese roots before that time. So Zen is a branch of Buddhism that originally came from China. It entered Japan in the 6th century. Shinto existed in Japan long before that. So Ko means ancient. So ancient Shinto is much older than Zen in Japan. What is this called in the ancient Shinto religion? The idea of living in the now, as I mentioned earlier, is that now, at this moment, there is a slight passage of time. Do you understand? I'm writing this manuscript now. I'm concentrating on writing this manuscript, and that is all I'm concentrating on. This is the Zen idea of living in the moment. There's a flow of time through writing. However, in the ancient Shinto concept of Naka Ima, which literally means inside the moment, Naka Ima, there is no flow of time. In other words, when you write a manuscript or touch your fountain pen to the paper, that moment is Naka Ima. The moment and momentary are synonymous. To give you an idea how fast a moment is, Japan has a unit of measurement for numbers. 1 hour is 60 minutes. The word minute is read as bu, which applies not only to time, but also to money. In the old days, a peddler in Edo, Tokyo now, used to say, I will not lose even a minute or a millimeter. The 60th part is the ko, and the 17th part is like dividing like 17 times, is the moment. The 17th is the moment. Since the finger before the moment is the finger, the speed of 1/60th of a finger pounding sound is called a moment. In other words, to put it simply, Naka Ima means to turn your body and mind to what you need to do at the moment without thinking about anything else, and to move first. In Aikido, this is called directing your ki. If you think this is too much trouble, it will not become a moment. If someone says something is unpleasant to you, you should smile at that moment. In that moment, do not think about anything, but move first. Your facial expression and body will move at 1/60th the speed of a finger pounding. There is no room for emotion, not even a moment's pause. This is truly the essence of Buddha. Live each day with these words in our hearts. So that's the message. And then a couple of other things I just want to add to that. When my teacher, and actually Maruyama Sensei's teacher, Tohei Sensei, went to the United States in the 70s, there was sort of the end of the hippie movement, or, there was a lot of hippies, especially in San Francisco. He's from California, right? Well, what happened was, when they're young and their music was pretty good, we had really good music in those days, and they're hanging out on the street, and they're stoned, and they're like, they got the jeans and the long hair, and it was kind of cool. The problem is those same people are still there, but now they call them homeless. I mean, not all of them, some of them kind of graduated from that. But what partly created that was this be here now idea, because it really appeared. Oh, the other idea that Suzuki Daisetsu spread was that of do nothing. Or do nothing, think nothing. So that's munen muso in Japanese. It's a Zen idea. Do nothing, think nothing. Well, for those guys, hey, yeah, that's pretty good. Not going to work, do anything, just hang out, cool. But the problem is they missed the essential point, is that it's not just, like he said, ephemeralism. So there's no future that we can know of, and the past is gone, so just kind of enjoy yourself and hang out. So that's different from this idea of being able to move instantly in the what he calls Setsuna, which is 1/75th of a second. It's really, really short. To be able to move in that moment. So I think it would have gone a different way if they'd called it not be here now, but do here now. So you'd be able to act, be able to move anytime. And one other quick story, and then we'll start practicing. Toei Sensei went to San Francisco, and he saw this guy on the street corner. He's kind of zoned out, and his eyes were like glazed over. So he thought, this is really unusual. He put his hand in front, no reaction. So he wanted to take a picture. As soon as he took a photograph, the guy demanded a modeling fee. It's a really funny story. So anyway, that's not what we're practicing, but what we are practicing is Setsuna, which means the 1/75th of a second. It's just instant, no gap between action. Now, how does that apply to Aikido? Well, obviously, when you have someone attacking you, you don't want to have action-reaction. Now, what does this look like? Stand.
So let's
just by way of quick background, Amri, this is his second Aikido class. He'd never done martial arts before. So he came like 2 weeks ago, and then he came on Friday. And Plami is a black belt in the Saito-san's school, Takemusu. So her style of ukemi and stuff is a little different. But anyway, that's who we're working with. And we're going to do Shomen Uchi.
We're going to practice Shomen Uchi. So you're going to there's a concept of ma'ai. So ma'ai is
and Julia, I think you probably remember this, but Shomen Uchi is a strike to the center, and then Ikkyo is when you take it back, like a bicycle wheel. And what I'm trying to get across here is you don't want to have like person raises their arm and then you respond, or like if he raises his arm and you're not already next to him, then it's too late, right? It has to be simultaneous, and that's moving in the moment. That's Setsuna, that's Naka Ima. So that's the background.
The minimal safe distance, the distance at which I must make a major body movement to reach you. Now, you don't have ma'ai now because I can reach you without making a major body movement. If you step back a little bit more, basically one way to do it is put your hands out like this and measure. That's a rough estimate of ma'ai. I can't really reach you, I can't really kick you without breaking that space. So you want to be able to instantly find that space. Now, when you invade my space, first thing, what's the first part of your body to move? Okay, that's for what most people think, okay? If you take my Namba class, you'll realize that that's actually not the correct way. It should be the tanden. Tanden moves, and then the legs are engaged. And then lastly, the arms. But when people think, oh, Shomen Uchi, they just think of the name, oh, I gotta do this, so they move the hand first, then the legs, and they maybe don't even move the tendons. It's very weak. There's no power in this. So what you want to do is, yes, you want to move the hand, but you want to engage. Let me see if I can do it. Just kind of follow. I want to engage first my mind. That's the first thing to move. So I make the cut, and then one way you can actually close the space here is go like this, rather than going like this and this. Right? So this is just a T-bone step. It's just a fast way. And the thing is, if you have a hakama on, like Plumby does, you can go like this, and it's not even noticeable. Your movement is just almost invisible. But you've actually closed the distance. Now you can come up here. So the first thing to move is the mind. And that's the instant. That's the Setsuna part. And then the body responds first from the tanden, and then draws the foot here. And then the foot comes and the arm last. So the arm, drawn from the sword, basically it's in the center. So it's not like in the old comics, Boom, don't have that kind of time, right? So what you want to do is come up the center. So you're almost cutting twice. You come up the center and then down. So please practice that way, just the attack itself. Okay, but you have to strike for here. So you can move in closer. Okay, but you moved your front foot first. You move the back foot first. Okay, it's better. It's still not going to reach me though. It's closer. But you mentally have to cut me here first. Relax, and then it's like the foot. Yes, okay, that's good. Now, when he does that, that is a serious attack. So, but when do I notice that it's coming? Of course, in practice, we decide, okay, now we're going to practice this. So I know it's coming intellectually. But when do I know viscerally that it's coming? Okay, that's way too late. But that's a normal answer. Most people will answer that. The reason is that it's going to be fast, right? It's going to be like, I don't have time to react if you're going to do that. So my cue is movement of your mind, or your key, sometimes we say. So as soon as I feel the key coming, then I go into motion 2. Okay, so and then you keep going. I go into motion 2, but I meet you on the way down. See, okay. Now, if I wait for your arm to go, then at the very fastest I could do to go up kind of a little bit slow. Very fastest, his arm came up, and then I meet you here. That's not Aikido, that's colliding, right? And so what I want to do is actually go up at the same time as you are. Now that seems almost impossible to most people. How can you do that, right? But I can feel the movement of your ki. If your mind is calm, like a lake and a wind blows across it, makes ripples. So as soon as your mind goes, okay, and then I can be here waiting for you. And instead of blocking you, I just turn this upside down like this. Yes, nice and kinky. Okay, and the other side. So I'll just go. Now, I have plenty of time now, actually. But if I wait until the arm is up, it's too late. You see the difference? Okay, now I'm going to do it, and then I'd like the two of you to practice. So see if you can spot the breath of wind that we call ki. Basically, it doesn't have any really shape, but it's like it's coming. You know? And then and then the technique, of course, I haven't talked yet. But what you want to do is meet me here, but not to block, but take me down this way. Okay? So basically, you're going to go up and then down. So actually, we have an exercise called Ikkyo. So let's practice that a little bit. Each knee. So the hips come in with me, please, on camera if you can. So the hips come forward, and the arms kind of dangle behind. Sometimes you see dancers move that way. In modern dancers that move like this. They're moving the center of the body first. So the arms stay behind, and then they can swing up to here, to eye height, hands facing each other, like you're going to give an applause. But the fingers stop here at eye height, and then the hands come down, and then they come back together. So each knee. So it's hips, hands, hips, hips, hands, hips. Don't raise your heel. Hips, hands, hips, hands, hips. Other foot forward. Hips, hands, hips, hands, hips. Okay, so that's the motion, except that when you come down, you're gonna take the hand like this and just, it ends up in this position. So try that with me, and then I'll have to ask you to do it together. So I come up here, okay, now you don't wanna, this hand should not even make contact, it should just be ready. Doesn't make any contact yet, it's just ready. Now it makes contact on the way down. If you can get the timing of that, you're gonna be much better off. So what a lot of people do is they think, oh, I see, I have to use this hand, the elbow hand, to come up, attack, yeah. Okay, I have to use the elbow hand to move. The thing is, if I have my weight underside, we call, you try, it's not gonna go anywhere. And meanwhile, I can still. So this hand is ready, but it doesn't touch. Yes, and you take this down, and then that will break my balance, and you take it forward. So we'll do the pendulum, but just get the that motion. So I'll do it once more. So get you attack. Now, okay, front foot. Usually it doesn't matter. Because even though I was expecting it to come on the other side, I can still respond. But basically, you want to attack in the I hanmi. This is Gyaku hanmi, which is the opposite hanmi. So you want to have the other foot forward. Same hanmi as me, right foot forward. So you come in, and I just take it down. Okay, other side. Let's just practice that part. Okay, okay. And you don't have to stop here. Just come right down. Okay. I just do it. It's very fast. Okay, try each other.
Now it gets interesting here because Omri, it's his second class, right? In Aikido ever. And he's doing really well, like who came in, all these different things, that's a lot to absorb. And Plami is a black belt, but she's from another school and they don't teach it this way. So sometimes she's like struggling with, well, that's not the way I learned it, or it's so different. And, you know, and so they're struggling with trying to get the beginner's mind, but she's very dedicated and she comes every time. So that's a happy thing, but it's just interesting to see how they engage. So we'll watch a little bit more here.
So when you actually strike, you can start in either hanmi you like, but if you're doing here, then you would just move your foot here because you want to end in the I hanmi. But if you happen to be in the other hanmi, then you're going to have to come in this way. So you Naka Ima. Same one. Okay. Here, don't go back, just go up. Okay. Okay. Yes, okay, and take it down. Okay, and the first point of contact is this hand, but this hand is just ready, but no contact. It gets on the way down. Okay.
He picks up his hand, so
Yeah. Well, don't stop. You have to actually continue. But even when he continues, still, as long as his hand is going in this direction, this hand should not touch. It catches on the way down. Okay. And don't stop. Follow through. Yes. Okay. That's good. That was very fast, actually. I mean, I think it would be hard to catch on camera. We'll know later. But it's really, really fast. Try again. Now. Yes. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Other hand. Other side. Now. Good. Okay. Now. Okay. Your hand is, both hands are meeting at the same time. So don't touch. Just be ready.
because it's different.
It doesn't matter. You have to listen. My sensei would sometimes change completely from what he taught the previous week, and then from that day we changed. So you have to live in the moment and not. I mean, when you practice in your old dojo, you can practice that, but what we're doing here, we should do that. And it's not that complicated, actually. It's just the simple instruction is that you meet, this hand comes on now. So that's all. It's a simple motion change. Okay, yeah. Now, you try. Oops, don't go to the side. This is a temptation and it comes from thinking too much of this hand. It's pushing to the side. It's just straight down. It's like a bicycle. It's like a bicycle wheel that's moving straight. So this hand comes first, this hand follows it, and then it comes to the side. Take it slowly, just so you get the mechanics. Comes up, yeah. Oops. Okay. First of all, it's not this, it's this. So you move when she moves, so you actually meet up like this. This is the first thing that happens. I'm stretching her skin and her heat straight up. Then I come down, this hand is ready, but it's not touching. I just turn it over, boom, and it's very fast. Now, go ahead. Okay, don't use the heel of your hand. It's like a bird landing on a branch, right? So you need the thumb here. But it's not like going like this.
Mechanics are important, but
basically
they're not
this
everything.
Is the first time
you need to have the thumb there.
Catch it on the way down.
More important is that you don't have contact until you're on the way down.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Put the thumb over. Think of a bird on a branch. It needs to have yeah, that's right. Yeah. The bird has to have a thumb or a toe behind it, otherwise it falls off the branch. Okay, try the other side. Take it straight towards her face. Okay, now you're slipping off the branch. Yeah, okay. But see, you're also going to the side. We want to just go straight. So turn your hips so that you're still facing straight to her center. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Okay, good. Okay, try that the other side again. Good. Okay, don't slip off the bench. Yeah. And don't turn your hips, but keep your upper body straight, your shoulders facing straight to that wall. Okay. Yeah. Okay, it still looks to me like two motions, up and down. You can do it as one motion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay. Okay, that's better. It's still, there's a slight hesitation and then a turning. Just one. It's basically just down, except that it starts up. But it's one motion. Okay, Setsuna. Now, yes, okay, that was good. That was good, especially because it's the first time you've done this. That's excellent. Keep the heel down. Okay, other side. Now, okay, did you hear that?
Sound
That's
of
the
one
delay.
of two hands clapping.
So you want to move even faster, or sooner, I should say. Now, yeah, good. Okay, that's silent, right? Okay, now on the intro. Okay, pretty good, but it's still here and here. It's still two motions, it looks like. Just down. Only don't even think going up. I mean, you go up, but don't think down.
Don't be scared, hit me.
Yeah. So just go through, follow through. Yeah, she's a black belt. Don't worry. You can't hurt her. Yeah. Okay, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Now, there's still a little bit of a sound there. See if you can do it without that sound, which you're almost there, like that close. Just see if you can do it like, just start a bit sooner. Yeah. Okay, pretty good. The one thing I think will help is, it looks like you're kind of ready for the motion. Can you just take out that? Just don't have anything ready. Just mind is calm, and then try. So start from the 0 point. Yes. Okay, that was good. Okay, and then I'll try again. Okay. Yes. Okay. Still a little bit sound. That happens, and sometimes you maybe stop and stuff. But okay, but that's really good. Now, the next thing to happen, as you might expect, is the pin, right? I mean, most schools of Aikido practice that. Did you know that the pin was not originally part of Aikido? There were no pins in Aikido. That Ueshiba Sensei introduced that, not, actually it was before the war, but he introduced it as a health method to stretch, but it's not martial arts. In judo, which is a sport, not a martial art, they have pins on the ground, and so like you could get the guy, you could get his neck, and he can't stand up, but you can't stand up either. So it's not a martial art, it's a sport. You gotta put them on your back. And in Aikido, we pin face down, which is already better than that, but there was an incident Maruyama Sensei tells about, I think it happened in the 50s, where somebody had a black belt in Aikido from the Aikikai at that time, and he was working in a convenience store or something, a small shop, and these two guys came in with knives to rob him. It's a showdown, right? So he actually did this technique and had him pinned on the ground. And then the other guy ran away, right? So he was able to, he had him pinned nicely, which is pretty impressive. So he was able to call the police. But it takes the police at least 10 minutes to get there, and before they got there, the guy came back and got his knife out and killed him. So his training actually killed him, the habit of pinning. So we're going to practice pinning, but just remember that was not originally part of it. So what was part of it was a throw. So it's a forward roll. So you take them to come in. So here, and then bump, just a forward roll. Just pull out. That's really what it used to be. Because you want to make the distance, and then that's the way it used to be. The pins came much later, and nobody knows this, except people at Maruyama Sensei, who's 87, spent 14 years with Master Ueshiba, so he remembers.
Okay, so anyway, we then continued to practice. So I'll just come out of that and stop sharing and just get a few comments before we close off. Oh, also before we close, I recommend that everyone save the chat. As Hugh advised, you go to the chat, and there are 3 dots at the very bottom. Oh, have you written another poem? Oh, this is from, A Sound of a Single Hand. Okay, so there's 3 dots at the lower right. You click on that, and wait a minute, that's, it says save chat, but it won't let me save the chat for some reason. Participant can chat with. It says save chat, but it's grayed out, so I can't do it. Are you able to do it? Are you able to save the chat?
Let me just try. I did just now. Now, no. Oh, that's very odd.
It's very odd. I don't know. I'm just gonna open up these files and save them. Before we. I'll
email you later the book cover. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for the introduction to that book. So just before we close, if we could just get a quick takeaways and comments from everyone. Prajna, you want to start?
Yes, the Ikkyo is very nice performance. You know, Sensei, when we started Aikido at 1989, so I got almost black belt, second dan those days, karate. So, but when we entered to your class in Shinjuku, Shinjuku, by Toi Sensei's home dojo. So we could not learn so fast. That boy, from Francisco, he's a great boy. he got it very fast.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's the first time he did the technique, and only the second class.
Yes, I believe this. If we had some experience in other martial arts, it's very difficult to catch Aikido. Yes, so without empty mind, any experience, it's very easy to get Aikido. So I see this boy is very nice.
He's a good learner. He's really fast. And Plami, I mean, she's already learned something, and for her, you know, they do two hands and then they hoist it down, and also like they do the ukemi different, and I don't know, there's just some different things. But you know, I understand because that's your habit. But just to be able to put that aside, and like she's be waiting like a kamai, like she's standing there like, you know, I'm ready for you, like this. And well, we don't do that, right? And so just stand there empty, and your body language reflects it, and she can actually move faster.
Yeah, and also when we say aikikai, they use hands this way all the time.
Yeah.
So this is very difficult. For natural fight.
Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia, you have any takeaways?
Well,
Juliet, sorry, I was asking
okay,
Juliet.
Julia, sorry,
yeah. I actually thought it was interesting. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty sure you told us the story before, and when I was in classes, but the pin wasn't originally part of Aikido. I thought that was really interesting because, I mean, we in the classes at ICLA, we basically did pins. We maybe touched on the rolling, but so I just thought that was interesting to know.
The reason why we didn't do it is because I just learned this from Mariama Sensei 2 weeks ago. So
fair enough.
I've never heard it before, but it makes sense. Yeah, I knew the story about the guy getting stabbed, but I didn't realize that they actually just did a throw.
Yeah, so I wonder, like, was it because of that incident? Purely because of that incident, or?
Well, no, because that was originally the way they did it, and then he started introducing the pins because they were good stretches. Back, and then that's the way it then became the standard teaching, and then that guy, you know, it's a tragedy. His teaching actually killed him. You know, it's like, okay, Gabriel, you want to?
Yeah, well, it's we often in class teach the I don't know if you use the same term, but the fly exercise. If someone tries to touch you and you just have to catch the hand before it touches you, the person just points and he has to touch here. And if you're just trying to look and like with your senses, like with your eye, and see how I'm gonna react. It never works. So the person always touches you. But if you're just listen to your intuition, you're always like, if you move with ki, then you're always going to be able to. And even if you can even do it very slowly, just like, you know, just calmly. You don't have to slap it.
It's not a race.
I never linked that with Naka Ima because but now it's really good. I'm gonna from now on I'm gonna link the two things because it's Naka Ima. If there's no like lapses, there's no like reaction time. You just instantly you just move at the right moment. So it's really good way to explain it.
Yeah, lightning strikes. It's just there, bam, and to me, this as a physical way of training is a lot more effective way to get at it than sitting on a cushion and thinking, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Although that certainly will have some value. But I think it has more value if you understand that it's not be here now, it's do here now. Anyway, that's just my
precisely.
Yeah. And Hugh, you want to wrap it up for us?
Yeah. So one thing I'd recommend is to watch some of the old videos of O-sensei.
Oh,
like the really old ones.
Yeah, in the 30s.
And you will see that he initiates.
No, yes.
He doesn't even wait.
No, he goes
for another. He initiates. So that look at those films, because they are very interesting. A lot they're black and white and a bit grainy and a bit stuttery, but you will see he initiates all the time.
Yeah.
So he's in there.
Yeah.
And actually Uke is responding, saying, "Oh, I got to attack you." No. So, but it's very educational. Second quick thing I'd say is, as a teaching tool, and it's such great fun. You and I used to do it. Is sitting in a chair with a towel, like a Japanese towel.
Oh yeah.
Holding the towel in your hand, and the other person has to. No, that's cheating. You have to come from the top.
Oh, from the top.
You can't come underneath. The other person has to take the towel from the top. And the only way you can win in doing that game is to sense, to stop it, to grab the towel, to stop it being taken, is to sense the attack.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's too quick.
Yeah.
So this is a great learning tool for what you're describing in the dojo there.
Well, what I use that in Namba to teach, but we take it from the bottom and we do it with the feet shuffling. And when your feet are planted, you can't move fast enough. But when your feet are shuffling, it's like that. But you're saying do it from the top and then try to close.
The reason is it's very easy to take away from underneath. But if you're coming from on top, there's more of a you can pick up the sense of it before it happens.
I see. Okay.
Anyway, don't worry too much about it. If you do it from the bottom, that's good. The other thing I'd just say is, from the point of view of this stance, this is all about curriculum.
Yeah.
And I've over the years I've come to the conclusion that curriculum kills Aikido, but I understand why it's there.
Yeah.
And the building blocks, and so that people can see within a particular framework how they're progressing. But one way around that problem is just to have everybody square on. If you're square on and relaxed and then get attacked, you will instinctively react the right way.
Yeah.
Without having to think, do I go left or do I go right? If you stand square on, you will react in the right way, pretty much.
Yeah. Interesting. So no harm, basically, yeah.
And the final point, which is a bit sort of deeper, is we discussed, there was I think it was introduced a very interesting concept called the martial moment. This is by one of the senior teachers in Europe, came for a visit one day. And basically what that meant was, within each technique, there's a martial moment. And if you want to define it, it could be the 1/75th of a second point, where you make a choice as Tori to do a nice Aikido technique and protect your uke, or kill him. So there's a, because it is a martial art.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't literally mean kill him, but if you did the full martial version of a technique, you could seriously hurt somebody.
Yeah.
You'd certainly break bones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a martial moment within a technique, a tiny split second, where you technically have a choice to move and do a nice Aikido technique, or to really strike and create a debilitating technique on them. And that's the martial moment. And it's interesting the way he explained it, because, although it's so quick, it is still a choice.
Yeah.
And some people make the choice instinctively and they do it wrong because they force it too much and they create injury. But that's a lack of training.
Yeah.
But that tiny martial moment is another way to look at it, I think, which to me is very interesting anyway.
Well,
because it reinforces the power of Aikido, but it also makes you,
yeah.
you know, we're all part-timers, you know, the vast majority part-time. So we have to look after each other,
Yeah.
because we want Uke to come back again.
Yeah. One way to think of that is Nikkyo, which can be devastatingly painful if you just really just wham, you know. But you're protecting them. You're not taking it to that past that limit. Because I know I do that because I'm teaching students that you know, I don't want to hurt them. I want them to be able to take the ukemi. But if I really just went wham, they would, you know, goodbye wrist, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for all those comments, and I will send you all the recording, and have a great week. This week, I will probably be, on Friday, be doing Iaido techniques, so I'm not sure how I'll integrate that into this, but we'll come up with something.
If I can just say, there's a very interesting, if you have time to consider some of the Iaido draws and cuts versus how we use a bokken in Aikido.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting difference there.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. So thank you all, and have a great afternoon, evening, whatever morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for today. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.